On Tuesday's Wales at 6. Don't let your guard down. That's the message to rural communities as crime continues to threaten livelihoods. Also on the programme, flooded again. Families in Skewen suffer more heartache after another deluge. Plus, the 10-year-old due to become the first person in Britain to get a 3D bioprinted ear.
And I'm at Maindee Velodrome celebrating an Olympic medal with some future cyclists.
Hello there, good evening, I'm Alex Hartley. The cost of criminals targeting Welsh farms came to more than £1.5 million last year. Experts say thieves are using increasingly complex tactics to steal trailers, tools and even livestock. COVID restrictions and increased farm security have helped reduce these thefts. But as the economic impact of the pandemic sets in, there are fears higher rates of rural crime could return. Our correspondent Carol Green has been speaking to a dairy farmer from Carnarvon about the challenges they face.
Farming is a much-loved way of life for Aled Jones, but it's also a round-the-clock job, not just tending his pedigree herds, but keeping his stock and his equipment secure.
I remember having the tractors out in the field, batteries being stolen, for example. Another time when we were doing some work in a building, we left a welder, grinder, and the following morning they were gone. It's very costly. And, this year they've highlighted 43 million. It's enormous. I mean, that's 20% down, believe it or not. Now, the scale of the problem, unfortunately, is still too great.
How challenging is it to keep your farm, equipment and your animals safe?
Well, the challenge is, especially when you've been working very hard and you're doing 101 jobs at the same time. And at the end of the day, the first thing you want to do is to get back into the house and have a bit of supper. But invariably, you've probably left the quad bike where you finished working with it. You might have left the keys in the tractor. So there are quite a number of things, because of the busyness of the farm life, that you can neglect security. And so the message is, you always have to be vigilant.
And what's the impact of these thefts?
People that I've spoken to who have been victims of these sort of crimes feel devastated. And it does have an impact on their mental well-being. And I can appreciate that. What I've suffered is particularly quite minor, but farmers have had, very expensive machinery taken, they're unable to carry on with their work, and they feel guilt, perhaps, because they've perhaps been a little bit negligent in their minds, but they've been victims, nothing else.
Over 80% of Wales is farmed, and whilst those who work the land have welcomed the reduction in crime, they say there's still much more to do.
The issue certainly hasn't gone away, and what we have found is farmers have suffered in different ways as well under lockdown. So we obviously saw a huge surge in dog ownership and increased visits to the countryside, and we saw a big increase in dog attacks on farm animals. Also, with recycling centres restricting their opening hours, there was also an increase in fly tipping in the countryside.
And for Aled, that means keeping a watchful eye on his farm and in his community. Carol Green, ITV News, Carnarvon.
Well, to discuss these issues in more detail and for some advice on how farmers can protect themselves, I'm joined now by Wildlife and Rural Crime Coordinator Rob Taylor. Rob, thank you very much for joining us on Wales at 6. As we saw in Carol's report, it is hugely devastating for these farmers, not just financially, but also emotionally.
Absolutely. The impact of farm crime is huge on our rural communities, and the farmer actually knowing that somebody's possibly been on their farm and took a vital piece of machinery or taken a breeding line, a ram, can have huge emotional impacts, and that's why we have teams now in North Wales and throughout Wales who can actually deal with these scenarios and understand the issues from a policing perspective, which is vitally important.
Absolutely. And what can farmers do themselves to protect? their farms and their goods?
You know, there's a number of things that's out there at the moment. They're tried and tested. You know, keep your eyes open, lock things away, use cameras, etc. But there's a new project out as well that's coming through Wales at the moment, and there's 16 test sites, farms that have the latest technology installed. And we're currently building a brand new website, and that website will also allow farmers to see the latest technology to purchase or use, but give them signposted direction to mental health issues as well and emotional care that they may suffer from a crime that they've witnessed.
And what are the new tactics we're seeing from these criminals?
Mostly criminals are opportunists, but a lot of criminals also plan as well. And we've anecdotal evidence of some drones being used to scope farms, to look for quad bikes that's been left out overnight, or maybe possibly somebody using social media to check if a farmer is advertising the fact that they've got a brand new quad bike. And these things you need to be aware of. And if we take care and farmers just do these small little changes, it can make a huge difference.
And theft is down overall at the moment, but other crimes such as dog attacks on livestock and fly tipping have seen a huge increase. What's being done to tackle this? It's
an interesting one. Livestock attacks is a really difficult subject. However, we're now in Parliament. We've got a brand new law coming through which will enable us to get more successes through our courts, enable us to get banning orders on irresponsible dog owners. And I think in turn that will educate dog owners to be more responsible and make sure their dog doesn't attack sheep or any other types of livestock in our countryside. And that's what we need to move forward, and additionally give some training as well to the police themselves and education.
And to the dog owners themselves as well, perhaps?
That's right, yeah, absolutely. And it's simple measures by using a lead, or make sure that your dog is secure when you go to work during the day, because 70% of dog attacks we found now is actually when the owner isn't present.
And of course, these rates have gone down, but there are real fears as the pandemic restrictions ease that they could rise back up again, aren't there?
Yeah, we're looking at a 40% decrease in Wales from 2020 to over 2019. That's significant. But of course, COVID played a huge part because criminals were denied the use of the roads. But also there's some fantastic work going on throughout Wales, from North Wales all the way down to South Wales, with dedicated officers who are expertise in this professional part of policing. And it is specialist policing by understanding the problem that the farmers are enduring.
OK, well, Rob Taylor from Wildlife and Rural Crime Coordinator, thanks very much for your time this evening. A 19-year-old man has appeared in court today, charged with murder after a 15-year-old girl died at a holiday park near Abergele. Officers were called to report of a domestic disturbance at Tîmawr Holiday Park on Saturday afternoon. Matthew Selby, who's from Greater Manchester, attended Llandudno Magistrates Court earlier. He'll appear at Mould Crown Court tomorrow. Elsewhere tonight, police are continuing to question 3 people in connection with the death of a 5-year-old boy. Logan Mulangi was found in the Ogmore River near Pandy Park on Saturday. A 39-year-old man, 30-year-old woman and 13-year-old boy remain under caution as police investigate the boy's death. People living in Skewen, whose homes flooded earlier this year, saw further damage last night following heavy rain. Around 80 people were evacuated from their homes in January when a disused mine shaft filled with water and burst. Well, homeowners were left with thousands of pounds worth of damage, and many have only just been able to return home. Well, our reporter Mike Griffiths is there for us this morning. Mike, what more can you tell us this evening?
Alex, it's just over 6 months since those mine workings and water from them sent orange mine water through several streets in Skewen. This is one of just a dozen on this road alone that was very, very badly damaged. Most of the people on this road still to move back into their houses. Now, yesterday's flash flooding brought more water just down from the drains up right up to the step here. They escaped any more damage. But if you come with me over here, you can see a house on that side of the road. Well, that gentleman there had only recently replaced all of his furniture, now ruined by the water that came out yesterday morning, sat outside in the front of the house now. A great amount of concern from people here. That man here was unfortunately too concerned about what had happened to talk to us, but a neighbour and friend of his really echoed what a few people here are saying tonight.
His house has been completely flooded, right through downstairs. He had a new sofa about 2 weeks ago, completely ruined. It's outside. He's not able to live downstairs at all now again at the moment since the flood in January. So yeah, it's been a bit of a whitewash again. And he can't get insurance. So, he's stuck. He really is stuck, and it's heartbreaking. If you go out for a couple of hours and you see a bit of rain, you think, oh my God, what's going to happen at home? You're all rushing to get back, and you? Because you don't know what's going to happen at home.
Now, as we saw when we were here just over a fortnight ago on the anniversary, 6 months since the flooding here, some people have been able to move back. A great number of people were displaced, more than 80 families in total. There's considerable work being done by the Coal Authority, which has a responsibility for elements of the mine workings, not far away from here, spending millions of pounds on putting in a drainage system to tackle that problem. The concern from residents here is whether the drains, the domestic drains themselves, have been somehow affected. People who've lived here for decades saying we've never encountered flash flooding like this. Neath Talbot Council have said tonight that it was rainfall that actually overwhelmed the drainage system here. They're providing support to people and they're looking into it further, people here on the site looking. But our questions really, if this is what can actually happen in the summer, people want answers soon to make sure there's not a repeat of this when we expect more rain later in the year.
Absolutely. Mike Griffiths in Skewen, thanks very much. Still to come on the programme. Is this his biggest challenge yet? Extreme explorer Ash Dykes takes on climate change in his latest project. And excitement builds for the businesses hoping for a big boost as I'm a Celebrity returns to North Wales.
I come flying down to Kiosk Keep and when the boys are back, which was brilliant, ran in and told the girls, right, that's it, Celebrity's here, back in Abergele.
But before all that, a 10-year-old girl from Pembrokeshire is due to be the first person in Britain to receive a 3D bioprinted ear. Radia Mir has microtia, which means she was born without a properly formed left ear. Scientists at Swansea University are now working on technology which would see some of her own cartilage used to create a new one. Charanpreet Kaur reports.
It's something many of us take for granted, but for Radia, it would mean a lot.
I think it would be cool to have like the same ears and
She's comfortable with the skin she's in, caused by a congenital condition called microtia, but over the years it's made her confidence at school waver.
She asks questions in school, why she not have another year on the other side. So hard sometimes for her.
I just say I've been to like Swansea Hospital, I've seen many doctors, they told me this, that.
Now, all those trips to the doctors are about to have a landmark result. Radia's to be the first person in the UK to receive a 3D ear grown in a lab using 3D printing technology.
Quite amazing, to be honest. Yeah, she'll have a matching ear soon, hopefully.
We filmed with Professor Ian Whitaker and his team at Swansea University as they've developed this new technology over the years. Now, funding from the Scar Free Foundation means they can put it into practice with a new ear for Radia, who's an ambassador for the charity.
We could scan the other ear, try and get it the same size and shape, and then put it in without having to remove cartilage from another part of the body. So that would mean less scarring, less pain, and a potentially shorter anaesthetic.
Usually, reconstructing a human ear requires an operation where cartilage is taken from the patient's ribs. This 3D printed ear just needs cells. There's no operation, meaning less pain and less time spent in hospital. And the implications don't stop there.
In the next decade or 2 decades, I'll expect this to lead on to more complex structures. And by that, I mean things such as the heart and the lungs, which there are several other groups worldwide working on. So this is an early step in what will be a long-term pathway to really revolutionise transplantation and reconstruction.
A huge scientific breakthrough for Wales, which for this little girl will have a simple result.
I think it would be cool so I can get 2 of them ears pierced.
Charanpreet Kaur, ITV News.
Quite incredible. Now, in just 2 months' time, the UK will host the 26th UN Climate Change Conference. World leaders will meet in Glasgow to discuss the major changes needed to protect our planet. But we all have a role to play, and with this in mind, 13 ambassadors have been chosen from across the UK to encourage others to help tackle climate change. One of those leading the initiative is adventurer and author Ash Dykes from St Asaph. Earlier, I spoke to Ash and I began by asking him to tell me more about this new role.
I was contacted and made ambassador for COP26, which is a one step greener ambassador. And that's off the back of the previous expeditions that I've achieved, and sort of doing my bit to try to eliminate plastic waste or trying to reduce food waste, and just spreading more awareness on climate change as a whole.
So we probably should explain to viewers at home what you do as an adventurer. Tell us a bit more about the work you've done.
Yeah, so I've achieved 3 world first records in Mongolia, Madagascar, and most recently was a 4,000-mile journey, walking 352 days and becoming the first person ever recorded to walk the entire length of the Yangtze River. And along the way, I was using kind of like a water filtration bottle that I could drink directly from the Yangtze, which would effectively stop me from using around 1,500 half-litre single-use plastic bottles, which is, of course, really harmful to the environment. And I was providing talks on climate awareness in schools. We were providing free bottles. We were litter picking along the Yangtze River. So whilst I've been achieving these records, and they've been very heavy in terms of survival-based, it's been a very clear message of you've got to enjoy the world you live in, but to also protect it.
A very important message, without a doubt. And I think it is fair to say that these days most people accept climate change is a big issue, but many still don't know what they can do on a personal level to help. Do you have any advice?
Yeah, there's lots you can do. By going greener, you can be more eco-friendly by choosing to walk or cycle instead of driving, especially if it's short distance. You can choose to reduce food waste as well. It's the little things that we can do.
Absolutely, some great tips there. COP26, of course, is going to be a huge world event. Do you think that this could be a turning point and a real catalyst for change here in the UK?
I really hope so. I really hope so. It's promising that we're all talking louder about it now. It's, of course, hot news, hot topic. And, we're still looking for, I'm myself honoured to be ambassador, but we're still looking for another 13 ready to hopefully get to the event ourselves. People can nominate themselves via the COP26 website.
Well, Ash Dykes, thanks very much for joining us and good luck.
No problem. Thank you.
You're watching Wales at 6, a reminder of our top story. The cost of criminals targeting Welsh farms came to more than £1.5 million last year. COVID restrictions and increased farm security have helped reduce these thefts, but as the economic impacts of the pandemic sets in, there are fears higher rates of rural crime could return. And still to come before 7.
Coming up, the shocking rise in drugs deaths. England and Wales record their highest in numbers since records began, up 60% in the past decade. We'll explore what's behind it. Also ahead, 200 death threats a day. The girlfriend of England star Jack Grealish on her turmoil over social media trolls. And the wind in their sails. Team GB's best day at the Olympics so far. Join us for all that and plenty more from 6:30.
Time for the latest from Tokyo now, and Wales has another Olympic medalist after cyclist Eleanor Barker won silver in the women's team pursuit event. Eleanor helped the team finish second in the qualifiers and secure a place in the heats. They then went on to face Germany in the final, who took gold and set a new world record. Well, our sports reporter Beth Fisher is at Maindy Flyers Cycling Club for us tonight. Beth, another fantastic achievement.
Yeah, Eleanor has won all there is to win in cycling, and another silver medal to add to all the medals she has already. And I'm really pleased to say I've got a few people here to talk about her success. And first of all, Matt Cosgrove from Welsh Cycling. Firstly, an incredible silver medal for Eleanor. Disappointed she wouldn't got the gold, but how do you rate her performance in the team?
I think one Olympic medal's hard to come by, so to win 2 is fantastic on top of everything else. All her world medals as an individual, Commonwealth Games gold. She's won everything there is to win, so yeah, silver medal, she'd be delighted with that.
Well, she's only 26 as well. What do you see her achieving, really, given that she's won all there is to win already?
Hopefully more of the same. It's down to her, really.
And how pleased are you that she's got that medal, because it's been a tough few years, isn't it, for all the athletes?
It's fantastic to go in as defending champions. There's a lot of pressure, people chasing you. Look at the men's team pursuit; they're riding for 7th or 8th tomorrow. So to come away with a silver medal, brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. And Alex, every athlete has to start somewhere, and Maindy Flyers has a lot of athletes starting somewhere. Thank you, Alan Davis, for joining as head coach. You've coached all the big riders, Eleanor, Geraint Thomas, Luke Rowe, etc. Firstly, how proud are you of Eleanor's achievement?
Oh, enormously proud. It's fantastic. As Matt said, to win one Olympic medal is such an achievement. To win two is absolutely brilliant, and we look forward to her being able to come down here, come and visit us all again and inspire the kids again.
Well, listen, there's some magic going on down here because your Olympic medal rate is quite impressive.
It is. Since 2008, when Geraint and Nicole Cook won gold medal, kids that started down here with Maindy have won 5 Olympic gold medals. The next nation behind Great Britain has won 4.
So in your own right, you're doing better than some nations.
We are doing better than all other nations apart from GB.
And it is quite fantastic. Obviously, you've got some riders tonight, some very young riders starting out. What is the secret, and why do we produce such good riders here?
Oh, I think it's because we have a cycling facility which enables us to produce riders in a safe environment. We can work with youngsters from the very beginning. They can ride fast in a safe place. And from then, it's just they love the sport. Who doesn't like going fast?
And let's talk about Eleanor specifically, because she's such a quiet and assuming girl, given that she has won everything. How will she be feeling today?
I would imagine that initially they'll be a little bit disappointed, all of the girls, that it wasn't the gold. But as Matt said, it's very, very difficult to go in and to defend these championships. When they reflect on it, I hope they'll be enormously proud of what they've achieved. I mean, they did break their own world record twice in achieving what they've done.
Amazing. Well, let's hope there's some more gold medalists behind you. But we're going to meet Rhiannon, a cyclist who's just started, and Dad Niall. First of all, how much you enjoy cycling and knowing that a medalist has started here?
I do a lot of sports, but cycling is one of my favourites because I love going fast and feeling like I'm safe going around this track.
And knowing that women in the Olympics can win a medal, do you want to do that in the future?
Yeah, hopefully. It's unbelievable that she started here.
Amazing. Well, let's hope you are a future medalist in the future. Alex, another medal for Wales, another medal for Team GB. Let's hope we have some more coming in the week.
Let's hope so indeed. Beth Fisher, thanks very much indeed. And there's some good news on the athletics track. Cardiff runner Jake Hayward won his 1500 metre heat on his Olympic debut in Tokyo. The 22-year-old will now take part in Thursday's semi-final as he bids to win a first medal for Britain in the event since 1988. Good luck to him. On to rugby now, and Wales's Liam Williams and Josh Adams will start Saturday's final test against South Africa. They're part of 6 changes made by the British and Irish Lions head coach Warren Gatland. Dan Biggar, Wyn Jones, Ken Owens and Alan Wyn Jones also feature for the test decider.
I would like to see that very much.
I think it's credit to the players because there have been so many tight calls and so many. You're there and you're having a long discussion about selection and trying to get the right combination and thinking about players to start and impact coming off the bench. So yeah, there's definitely been some really, really tough and tight calls on this tour.
Weather time in just a moment, but first, businesses in Abergele have welcomed the announcement that I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here will be returning to North Wales. The series was filmed in the UK for the first time last year after the pandemic forced producers to abandon plans to make the programme in Australia. It's hoped the show's return will bring another boost to the local community. Rob Shelley has more.
Maybe they anticipated that I'm a Celebrity would be coming back to Abergele. Maybe they just didn't bother taking the signs down. Either way, the giant insects are still guarding the approach to Griffiths Castle and, yes, in its 20th year and what will be its 21st series, that's an awful lot of celebrities getting out of there.
The first Queen of the Castle. Congratulations.
And no, the cameras up at Griffiths Castle don't turn a single frame until November, but at the Pennebont Inn, they've started early. Could you quite believe it when they said yesterday, right, let's do it all over again?
The funny thing was, I was actually on a phone call and my phone was ping, 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 ping. And I just left it. So I put the phone down and it was like, oh my God! I come flying down to Kiosk Keith and went, the boys are back.
Where were you keeping the cardboard ant and deck?
Cardboard ant and deck were only taken down about April. This morning when I came in, they're straight back out again.
Of course, Kiosk Keith has been temporarily replaced by Kiosk Cledwyn. And yet... What's life like being Kiosk Keith? Good, good. By now you're probably getting the picture. It is all a little bit surreal. And by the way, the pigeons aren't to scale. Something tells me Abigail did not want to give up its I'm a celebrity hood lightly. For example, it's a good job that gigantic locust stayed on the top of Woolies throughout the spring. That's not a sentence you get to say very often, really. Griffiths, the fortress that's guarded Abigail from, well, maybe several squirrels and possibly Llanrwst, was built as a folly, a dream made real, a flicker of the imagination. It was always meant to be a stage set. And nope, you aren't seeing things. Tracy, at the Sugar Den, is proud of her giant beetle.
For the businesses, for the castle, it's just going to be amazing. It was so good last year. It was just so much fun.
And of course it's happening in a slightly more open world this time round.
We might even have some celebrities walking around the town, mightn't we? That'd be such good fun.
Well, if they're not put off by the 6-foot beetle up there.
Come and visit them, it'll be fine.
So, now we know where I'm a Celebrity is happening this year. As to the cast, well, yep, there has been the odd sighting of Ant and Dec in town, in two-dimensional form, but the castle's the only celebrity confirmed so far. Rob Shelley, ITV News, in Abergele.
Exciting times ahead. Time for the weather forecast now. Here's Charlie Powell.
Great Western Railway sponsors the ITV Cymru Wales weather.
Hello. Now, as we head into tomorrow, we're going to see a few more showers around, but there'll be plenty of sunshine between them. The winds are quite light, the temperatures are kind of normal, so it's a very typical sort of summertime setup. That is until we see a next weather system working in, which is probably going to arrive on Thursday, may well last to Friday as well, and a sort of uncharacteristically unsummery end to the week, with some fairly persistent rain, some strong winds, and probably quite a cooler feel to things as well. I've had 1 or 2 showers today. As we head through the rest of the evening, though, most of us will be looking at a dry night with some pretty clear skies. Could be occasional mist patch developing, but the winds will be light. Temperatures quite low. We got down just below 4 degrees at Senny Bridge last night. I wouldn't be at all surprised if a few more rural spots get somewhere similar as we head into the early hours of tomorrow either. So yeah, a bit of a chilly start for some of us, but a fine, bright start as well. Any mist that's formed will go really quite quickly, and then for a good chunk of the morning, it stays dry and quite sunny. But before the morning is out, we're going to start to see a few showers developing, certainly across sort of the eastern half of Wales, I guess you could say. Some of them will be on the sharp side, plenty of sunshine between, but by far and away the best of the weather will be along the western half of the country. Certainly Cardigan Bay, good chunk of Anglesey, Pembrokeshire, Carmarthenshire, lots of nice sunshine here. Light winds, not feeling too bad in that sunshine either, particularly with highs of around 21 or 22 Celsius. But it does change as we head through the latter part of the week. That low pressure will bring us a lot more rain as we head through Thursday. Some persistent rain around, some strong winds, perhaps something a bit more showery, but potentially some thundery showers as we head into Friday. Some signs of a little bit of a quieter spell as we head into the start of the weekend, but right the way through those temperatures will be a little bit below par, and I think certainly on Thursday and Friday it may well feel on the cool side underneath that all unsettled weather.
Great Western Railway sponsors the ITV Cymru Wales weather.
Hello, summer. Piri sponsors ITV Pollen Count.
Well, it's things like weed, pollen and fungal spores that are the main contributors. Nettle, for example, quite a big player, but with so much changeable weather around, those levels will stay low as we head through the next few days.
That is all for now. I'll be back with your next update after the news at 10. For now, though, from all of us here, have a very good night. Bye-bye.